Everyone, my name's Aaron, and thanks for joining me here today. We're going to be taking a quick look at the new Transformers Universes Beyond cards that were just announced. Hasbro Plus Con or whatever is going on right now, and Magic 30th is around the corner, so there's going to be a lot of interesting new announcements coming up, and I'm just taking a look at them. I'm mostly a Commander player. I play Arena and Standard, but that's all digital. So just taking a look at these cards, give us some first impressions. If you're looking for like, the sickest Optimus Prime combos and stuff like that, you're not getting that here today or ever. And I will go on record saying whatever Megatron is, I will absolutely build him. He can be stacks, sacrifice, discard, tribal. It can be the most miserable deck on this planet. I absolutely love Megatron so much. I will build whatever that deck is for the inevitable Megatron card announcement, which should be coming tomorrow, they said. I'm not sure on the details. What I see is on the internet, so you heard it here fifth. But let's take a look at these cards. So we have Optimus Prime Hero, and it's a flip card. So on front side it says it got more than meets the eye, so you may cast this card converted for 2 Jeskai. So it looks like you can more than meets the eyes is an alternative cost, so you can cast them transformed. So I guess they enter the battlefield on while they're transformed. At the beginning of each end step, bolster 1. So creature with the least toughness among creatures you control get a 1/1 counter on it. And when Optimus Prime dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. That is some good flavor. There's a joke amongst Transformers fans just about how Optimus Prime, like every time they kill him, he just always comes back. So the fact that this card just cannot die is pretty funny. Alright, and then on the flip side we have Optimus Prime Autobot Leader, Living Metal. So Living Metal, as long as it's your turn, this vehicle's also a creature, and that's pretty cool. So that way, like, it retains the flavor of still being a vehicle, and it is also like you don't have to crew it, right? Because they're Transformers, right? They're vehicles that drive by themselves. That's actually pretty cool. So he's the front side is 3 in a Jeskai, more than meets the eyes, 2 in Jeskai. For 4/8, that's a big body. Sure, it's 6 mana, and but I guess you're casting it for the 2 in a Jeskai most of the time. And whenever you attack, bolster 2, and the chosen creature gains trample until end of turn. When that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, convert Optimus Prime. So I'm going to assume converting is just flipping it again. So no immediate synergies and combos come to mind, but it seems pretty cool. I assume a lot of these cards are probably going to want to be Voltron just to build them up. Especially in Jeskai colors, like you have access to everything blue, red, and white. Can do all the removal and counters and burn and all that stuff. So bolstering people, you get a lot of the white 1/1 counter synergy is some interesting stuff you could probably do with that. I can't think of anything right off the top. But the flavor is so good. Just Optimus Prime being able to come back when he dies is a good joke that I'm in on. Living Metal looks really cool because it is what it is. They are vehicles that don't need to be driven. All right, and then of course, let's see. The next one we have is Starscream Power Hungry. He's 3 in a black, more than meets the eyes, so you can cast him on the other side for 2 in a swamp. You flying, because Starscream's a jet, so of course he's flying. Whenever you draw a card, if you're the monarch, target opponent loses 2 life, and whenever 1 or more creatures deal combat damage, you convert Starscream. And on the back side, whenever Starscream deals combat damage to a player, if there is no monarch, that player becomes the monarch, and whenever you become the monarch, convert him. So this is a card that cares about stealing monarch. Oh, I just realized on the back of the art, like you see Megatron's back turn, and he's just scheming behind him because Starscream's thing was that he just always wanted to dethrone Megatron. He wanted to be the king, and then he was the king in the movie for 2 seconds before he got absolutely annihilated. And that's some really good flavor for Starscream, just being able to always just, like, the entire deck would be about like creating a monarch and stealing it back and killing whoever you have to be able to get the monarch back. And then If you're the Monarch, then if you're the Monarch, target opponent loses 2 life whenever you draw a card. You can combo that with like Sheldred and Dark Pact and stuff like that. Or is it Dark Deal? I can't remember the name of the card off the top of my head, but it's like a black wheel -1. So forcing people to, just doing a lot of card draw, and in mono black specifically, like there's a lot of like losing life to draw cards type effects. Sign in Blood, Read the Bones, Night's Whisper. They have a lot of those cards there. So it's basically just really into the flavor of black, of just like doing anything at a cost to get what you want, and then also just making sure that you're always the Monarch. And I think I might have mentioned this, but like, yeah, just combo it with Sheldred and have a Sheldred on the board and have Starscream and just draw all these cards and just dome yourself as hard as possible. This deck seems sweet. I would absolutely build the Starscream deck. I already have ideas in my head for what I would want to do with Starscream Power Hungry. That's just like, and I typically don't like the Monarch. That's just me personally, just because like it warps the game, and some people think that's fun and they like it, and that's fine. And it gives card advantage to colors that typically don't have card advantage. There's the Black Court. I know that one involves like discarding and sacrificing if you're the Monarch. I'm sure I could pull it up. This is a first impressions video. I'm very ill prepared for this. But that's just super good. I love Starscream. What a little greasy butt that Starscream is. And loving the art too. The art, the very 80s-esque art on the left, and then you have the full arts that look kind of like the War for Cybertron games. Super good. And then one of my favorite Decepticons, I like the Decepticons, I like bad guys. We have Soundwave Sonic Spy. So he has more than meets the eye for 2 and Esper. Whenever one or more creature tokens you control deal combat damage to a player, exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the damage dealt from their graveyard. Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost, and if you do, convert Soundwave. So it's a lot about letting tokens hit, and there's a lot of ways to make tokens in black and white and blue, specifically white, like lots of 1/1 tokens. But on the other side here, it says when you cast a spell with an odd mana value, convert Soundwave, and if you do, create Ravage, a legendary 3/3 black robot artifact creature with menace and death touch. And when you cast a spell with an even mana value, you convert Soundwave, and if you do, create Laserbeak, a legendary 2/2 blue robot artifact creature with flying and hexproof. So those tokens have some incredible evasion. Ravage has menace and death touch, which is already nasty, and Laserbeak has flying and hexproof. And my first thought for this deck would probably be something like Token Voltron. So you want to get spells in your graveyard, and you're casting the spells, and they're even and they're odds, and depending on what you need to pull out which token. And I'm sure you'll have both. Equip some big swords on them, Sword of Fire and Ice, Feast and Famine. Put a big stinky sword on your token and start connecting, landing those swords, landing the tokens, getting your spells back, and just keeping the ball rolling. And another pretty cool flavor thing for Soundwave is he's not a vehicle. He turns into a boombox, right? Because that's what Soundwave does in the cartoons. He turns into a boombox or a tape, depending on what era of Transformers. Why is he wearing a headband? I'm not familiar with the newer Transformers stuff. I'm a G1 baby, so I'm unsure why he has a headband on, like he's Solid Snake or something. I don't know. But the cool flavor thing I was talking about is he's not a combat dude, right? Soundwave has always just been like the guy in the back. So he can you can transform him or get him to convert in response to something. So if there's like a board wipe and you could just be like, okay, I'm just gonna cast anything, and then get him to turn into a tape, and then you dodge whatever like specific creature removal or whatever creature board wipe. If it's exiling everything, then you're done. Or if it targets artifacts specifically, you can't really dodge them. But giving him evasion, so he could just chill in the back, and then having access to Laserbeak and ravage all the time, and just that's what Soundwave did. He just had the dudes come out of his chest, and they just went out and did his like dirty work, and that's actually super cool. So yeah, build them. You can build them up. They're legendary tokens, so it's not like you can like abuse them or create them, or I don't know. There's sacrifice strategies that you could probably do with the tokens. I'm sure people will think of better things to do with it. My immediate thing is just like I'm gonna put a Sword of Feast and Famine on Laserbeak and just clatter somebody, get mana back, start spending mana, and just go nuts. There's blue. I'm gonna take turns. I'm gonna take as many extra turns as I want. Um, that's probably the most miserable way to build it, but that's where my head went. We have Slicer, Hired Muscle, more than meets the eye for 2 in a red, and regular cost is 4 in a red. It has double strike and haste. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you may have that player gain control of Slicer until end of turn. And if you do, untap Slicer, goad it, and it can't be sacrificed this turn, and if you don't, convert it. So this is like a chaos card. This is like a assault suit in the command zone. And let me see. Yeah, have that player gain control of Slicer, and it's goaded, so they have to make an attack. They can't sacrifice it, so if they have like a, you know, Ashnod's Altar or something, they can't sacrifice it to get rid of it. And it has Living Metal, First Strike, and Haste as in car mode, and when it deals combat damage to a player, convert it at the end of combat. So you give Slicer to someone else, Slicer transforms, hits someone, so I guess you would just build this up with weapons or make it as big as possible. It's kind of like Assault Suit, except the thing about Assault Suit is people can just blow it up, and then your creatures just sits wherever it's at and doesn't do the Assault Suit thing anymore. But this specifically is Assault Suit in the command zone. It kind of reminds me of I think it's Zancha, Sleeper Agent. It's the one that like everyone gets control of and it just goes all over the board, so it's kind of like that. Maybe it's in the 99 of those type of decks. But it seems fun. There's a lot of things you can do with it, like I said before. Sword of Feast and Famine, Fire and Ice, Body and Mind, Hearth and Home, put all those dumpy swords on my car and then send it to attack everyone else. Every turn it can't be sacrificed, so you can play a lot of sacrifice type cards and keep the board clear. That way it's always connecting, but you can block it, and it's not a particularly big body either, so it's probably not good, but someone will do something dumb with it. And we have Goldbug, Humanity's Ally, more than meets the eyes for Azorius, and 1 in Azorius to cast the front face. And prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking humans you control. And whenever you cast your second spell each turn, convert Goldbug. So I don't really know what to do with this. It's so specific. It's Azorius, Selesnya, and Naya tends to be the human color. Or yeah, Selesnya and Naya tend to be the human colors. Not saying that there's not humans in every color. But you know, it just dawned on me, this would go really good with Glenn from The Walking Dead. Yeah, Glenn from The Walking Dead set, because he has like Skulk, so he has to go slip through and do damage to someone, and that's pretty good. And it is the Goldbug / Bumblebee flavor to protect the peoples at all cost, and the cost is pretty efficient. Just trying to think of like what's a Azorius, like I guess just make your deck Azorius humans, or just Azorius, or put this seems more like it would go in the 99 of any sort of human commander that has white and blue in it, and there's quite a few of those. Is Grand Arbiter a human? I don't know, and I'm not looking it up. But yeah, Goldbug, Humanity's Ally, and then human spells you control can't be countered on the backside, and when Goldbug and at least one human attacks, draw a card and convert Goldbug. So you get the card on attack. Again, I think Glenn, Voice of Calm is what it's called. I think it would go really good in that deck specifically. That's the first thing that popped in mind, and I've been talking about Glenn because that's a card that you almost never see amongst all the Walking Dead cards. So um, having him be in the 99 to protect a buddy would probably be good, or make him the commander and just have lots of human buddies that you can control. And then we have Flame War, Brash Veteran. So 1 in Rakdos and more than meets the eyes for just Rakdos. So a lot of these cards are like aggressively costed down. Like they really want people to play these cards, which is interesting. So sacrifice another artifact, put a 1/1 counter on Flame War and convert it. Activate only as a sorcery. Then for 1 mana, you discard your hand, put all exile cards you own with intel counters on them into your hand. What's an intel counter? We'll find out. Because on the backside, Living Metal, Menace, Death Touch, and when it deals combat damage to a player, exile that many cards from the top of your library face down. Put an intel counter on each of them, convert Flame War. So this seems like Prosper, Tonebound with extra steps of just exiling stuff and exiling your library and playing things from exile. So it probably definitely goes into Prosper maybe. There's a million ways to build Prosper, and most of them don't particularly care about combat, and this card specifically is a 2/1 that needs to get through, and that seems really hard in the game of Commander because any dumb beater, and I'm sure it's like, oh, it's Menace and Death Touch, but like I don't know. I will happily block this thing in order to deter card draw or whatever you're trying to do. It seems like a lot of steps to do something that's not particularly efficient. But the card I'm most excited for right now is absolutely Starscream. Holy cow! What an incredible flavor win! What an incredible card! It's got it's decently costed, so you could just bust it out. Oh man, it's 3 mana. You could just like Jeweled Lotus and more than meets the eye, and then just turn before you even play a land, you can cast this thing. But we finally did it. We broke Jeweled Lotus. Yeah, the one I'm most excited for is Starscream, and Soundwave is a good second because that just seems really fun, and it looks like Soundwave looks like a thinking man's commander where he has to a little bit of setup and making sure you're casting the right things. Making sure you're let me take a second look at Soundwave again, make sure I'm reading this card correctly. Yeah, so you have to make sure you're doing the right amount of damage to get things out of your graveyard, and I'm sure you can pump Laserbeak and Ravage, but you'd probably, just from a deck building standpoint, you'd probably want to have a lot of things that are 2/2s and 3/3s, and make sure you have a lot of those. And honestly, some of the stinkiest cards are 2 and 3 mana that are instant and sorceries, so there's going to be like a lot of removal. Teferi's Protection, just phase out because you can just hit someone and then phase out and then just peace out, I'll see y'all next turn. There's a lot of things you can do between with the 2 and 3 mana cost just out of the box there, and people are going to want to block it, and then there's a lot of ways to make that block unappealing, and it seems like it'll require a lot of pieces to get that machine moving, and but I like that. I just also love Soundwave. He's my favorite Transformer by a wide margin, and the Starscream, like I said before, I'll say it a million times, the flavor hit is just so good that I'm going to build Starscream. I'm maybe going to build Soundwave, and like I said before, when they inevitably show the Megatron, and if there is no Megatron, then I will be sad and complain about it on the internet. But it seems like a no-brainer. But I also said that about the Street Fighter commanders. I was like, man, you can't do Street Fighter, and there's no Akuma or Bison, and there was no Akuma or Bison. So, what do I know? I'm a person on the internet. this Starscream card looks really cool. It makes me happy. It makes me excited for a mechanic that I typically don't even like to engage with. But when the whole deck is about it, then that rocks. So yeah, we'll see what we do here. I feel like everything for a Starscream deck already exists in paper. I can go make a proxy of this card and play this deck if I wanted to. And we'll see. But yeah, those are just my first impressions of what was announced. And thanks for watching. You guys got any thoughts? Any Transformers you're looking forward to? You want to see like Mark Wahlberg on a card, or Shia LaBeouf on a card, or who else is in those movies? John Cena. That'd be funny. I don't know. I feel like there surely must be a Grimlock or some sort of Dinobot. Maybe they'll be like a Unicron card that's also a land. There's a lot of cool stuff they can do with the Transformers lore that they have done before. And this is exciting. I like Universes Beyond stuff. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Let me know if you guys like quick reaction videos like this. Me just rambling my brain off. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up. You guys have a good one. Take it easy.